Condorcito tocando la cumbre de la montaña, cuyos ojos invitan a todo. Condorcito tocando la cumbre de la montaña, cuyos ojos invitan a todo. Ay, mi taita ya hey. Ay, na 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 na. Ay, mi taita ya hey. Ay, na 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 na. Ay, na 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 na. Ay, na 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 na. Ay, na 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 na. Ay, na 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 na. Curandero poderoso, purificando, curando todo. Guías amorosas cuidando, están restaurando el equilibrio. Prisumbró pintando la selva con amor, con colores del universo. Colibrí zumbró pintando la selva con amor, con colores del universo. Ay, mi taita ya hey. Ay, na 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 na. Ay, mi taita ya hey. Ay, na 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 na. Ay, na 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 na. Ay, na 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 ay, na na ay, na na
Whew, whew. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a week. Things get hectic, right? So tomorrow start a new schedule, so things are gonna get even crazier. But I thank you all for tuning in tonight. I asked for some requests up, and before I get there, how y'all doing today? Can't forget that. You know, I always ask. I hope you all had a great day. If it wasn't a great day, trust me, tomorrow will be better. And if you have nobody to talk to, just hit me up. Right? But for this topic, I requested a few topics, and this one came up, right? The right to self-determination. How does it work, or are there any legal repercussions that comes with stating who you are on their paperwork? So greetings to the panel, Little Deer, Red Crane, Uncle Pa, Peace. What's going on, y'all?
Yoko, Koniz, what's going on, nephews?
Estamos,
Cool.
Yoko. What's going on? Doing good today, man. Had a good day. Kind of been dealing with the physical pain, but I'm all good.
Shake that off.
I ain't been doing nothing but changing diapers.
Hey. And again, why I didn't say it on live. Congratulations, Red Crane, on your son. Feel me?
Hell yeah.
That's definitely major. You got baby, a scary, feel me,
Right.
to the family.
Oh, I got a grandnephew. I got a
Mm.
grandnephew.
Oh yeah,
They don't
Yeah.
get no
a little
You.
congratulations.
little young life.
Appreciate you. Real for real.
All praises to the ancestors.
Right. For real for real. Real for real. Real for real. Gave him a I gave him names addressing his admixture. Oh man. For real for real.
Core principles of international law.
We got comments, right? Put the comments up real quick. Can y'all mute for me?
Okay.
And then I'll go ahead and take off with what we have on the screen. So, what is, and this is the question, right? What is self-determination? So it says it in itself, determining who self is. And we're speaking on this from a social political way, right? And what's being explained here is it says that the core principle of international law. So self-determination is a core principle of international law, arising from customary international law, but also recognized as a general principle of law enshrined in a number of international treaties. So, what this is saying in so many words, in international law, self-determination is a core byproduct of international law. So you have the right to say who you are and actually determine who you are. But the thing is, and the underlying principle in this, and that we'll see coming up is honesty, right? A lot of people want, damn, I want to say I'm indigenous on an application, but I don't want them to say, well, on your birth certificate or when you filed for your license, you put black. So I don't want there to be any repercussions behind that. Now, here's the thing. There are no repercussions behind stating who you are. The thing is, you have to do it now. Don't wait. And don't be scared. Usually, when it comes to their law, it's a lack of trust. Or it feels like, okay, well, I don't trust them. But there's so many ways that one does trust them or do trust them and trust them on the daily, right? Even with the license, you trust that if you get on that road, that'll give you a pass in their law. So why not use that same trust in self-determination and stating who you are? This is who I am. This is who my family said I am. This may be on your paper, or I may have put this down to do the ignorance, right? And not ignorance like I'm ignorant, but I ignored the facts of the matter, or I did not know the facts of the matter at the time. Greetings. So self-determination is a core product in. Now, self-determination denotes the legal right of people, to decide their own destiny in the international order. Self-determination again is a core principle of international law arising. So we read this again, but what this is while it was recognized in international treaties, self-determination is now and also protected under the United States Charter. Charter. All my Masons in the law, all my Masons in the chat, all my Masons or my G's that's on the panel, we understand how charters are granted. So this ain't a country, this is a business. So when you go through the charter, they have a constitution and bylaws, which they bylaws they adopt. right? And the bylaws tend to adapt. So after the UNDRIP was put out by the United Nations, what eventually happened is the United States put out an ADRIP or ANDRIP, right? And this is dealing with the Americans and letting American people know, okay, well, you have the right to self-determination. But again, the underlining theme in that is honesty. So in the UNDRIP, you can go to www.un.org, and this will pull up the complete PDF, which I'm going to skim through, but you all can actually read it. So it's talking about what they recognize, all of this good stuff, and how basically this came to be. And here they acknowledge the Charter of the United Nations, right? Well, convention, but basically what they said, this is a treaty. So they've taken on these things that the UN had put out. So Article 1, the right to the full enjoyment as a collective or as individuals of all human rights and fundamental freedoms as recognized in the Charter of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and an international human rights law. So we're not dealing with United States law when we're dealing with self-determination. As we first read jumping off, self-determination is a core product of what? International law. So while people are fearing the United States, well, they screwed me once. So while I'm black on paper, I don't want to change it because I don't want what come behind that. When in reality, they had to adopt somebody else shit and agree with the UN and say, you know what, shit, yeah, we can let them go ahead and determine who they are. Self-determination. But self-determination first started in World War I. People like, how you gonna draft me? I'm not black. I'm indigenous. I'm not Negro, colored. I'm Indian. This is what people were doing. And there was a president, all of them are evil, but say, you know what? In the way, they ain't wrong. But this wasn't officially in the international courts until 50 years after that. Excuse me. 70 years after that. Part my numbers. Now, if we go to Article 2, says that indigenous people and free and equal to all other peoples, and individuals and have the right to be, free from any kind of discrimination in the exercise of their rights. I'm pulling out the laptop, reading off the phone. Let me get a little closer. In particular, that's based on their indigenous origin or identity. 3, indigenous people have the right to self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status. Let's go back. Now the laptop is up. Thing big and wide for my little eyes. So we good. Indigenous people have the right to self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Freely. So to be worried about what the United States has to say about how you do business, right? Socially or economically, then what you worried about, you have to first face. What do I mean by that? There are a lot of people that have indigenous ancestors that say that they're indigenous. And if the crackers pressure you, you're going to fold and say, you know what? I don't know that much. You might be right, but grandma might be lying. Was. And she ain't had a right to put on that paper exactly who she was. But now in international court, it's legal for you to put on that paper who the fuck you are. if we gonna worry about United States government. So we gonna say, well, if they get mad at me for doing it, I ain't gonna do it. You don't want to do it. You're scared. There's a lack of confidence. There's insecurity there. There's a lack of knowledge. So there's ignorance there. You have to face those things first in order to actually determine who you are with what? What's the underlying principle? Honesty. My grandma said, this is who I am. I trust what my grandma said. I know what my grandma said is right. So this is who I am. And this is who I am going forward. That's self-determination. Can't nobody tell me I'm wrong. This is bloodline. My story may not be the same as yours because we come from different families. We still may have been a part of the same confederacy. But when I applied for a job, I put black. Yo, okay. Now go put what your grandma said she was. Go put that I or the AI or however you're going to do it. But just know treaty law, international treaty law is really the law that everybody is looking for. Everybody want to fight in the United States courts. For what? When you have the right to freely determine your own political status and pursue economic, social developments on your own, free of repercussions. This is your birthright. But the United Nations got your birthright and put it on paper and gave it to the world. And then the United States adopted it. So now that the United States adopted it, we gonna rock with it. You might as well stay focused on their system, because they can determine when, where, and how you identify. They forever control you. If you're afraid to identify because you feel like, well, they'll do something to me if I identify this way, you have the choice. So if you have the choice, your ancestors didn't have the choice. But you do. Don't go back and forth with it. You know what's up. Article 4. Indigenous people exercising their right to self-determination have the right to autonomy or self-government in the matters relating to their internal and local affairs, as well as and means for financing their autonomous functions. So I am Cherokee Lenape, right? And I said, you know what? I got these land grants or whatever. I got this bill of sale or whatever. Hell, I'm going to go buy some fucking land. And when I buy my land, I'm going to say, this is my shit. I'm indigenous. To say, this is who I am, right? And then I say, well, it's not just me. It's other families. And since other families, we have what? The right to self-government in ways relating to our internal, and local affairs. This is tribal business. This is tribal business. So this is their, international courts. So indigenous people have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct political, legal, economic, social, and cultural institutions, while retaining their right to participate fully, if they so choose, in the political, economic, social, and cultural life of the state. State, hint, hint. What is the state? The state of mind. The ear, right? The ear. United States, the United Nations, all of your ear. Romania, Britannia, Florida, Georgia, California, So if you want to be a part of their union while maintaining or self-determining who you are, you can do that. But the law that's being looked at is United States law. So let's see. I don't know if we have a question, but we have something here. Let's see. I've been doing that for the past few years. Okay, so okay, all right. Okay, gun stores to try to change the black. Okay, yeah. I don't know why they try you like that. Again, I tell my story all the time about how this went down, right? But when you stand on who the fuck you are, excuse me, when you stand on who you are, it makes you even better at knowing how to defend it. A lot of people get mad. Well, you not that. My grandma said. You lost. You don't know enough, so you want to argue. But would you say, okay, well, boom, I do my work. I go to the gun store. They try to change it to black. I would have sued the fuck out of them. That's simple to me. So again, but what you did was right. You say, well, hey, if you told them, hey, I ain't black, you know, you wrong for whoop, the whoop, the whoop, the whoop. You handle that. You're not wrong for handling that. But they would have changed that on me, I'd have sued the shit out of them. Honestly, I never had any problems with my indigenous identity. I have. And I know everybody's experience is different. But I have. Yeah, about this shit. I done brought the family to court about this and won. But why? Because you're not who you say you are. Yes, I am. You not who you say you are. Yes, I am. Well, I'm looking and I can't find you. Well, you keep putting black as my race. And every time y'all arrest me, y'all keep putting black. That's why you can't find me. Oh, well, I can't find you. Oh, take me to jail. Then I get an apology from the state. So I done been there about this. From school to the streets to the wall. You have the right to say who the fuck you are. Waiting for is fucking insane. Article 6. Every indigenous individual has the right to a nationality. Every indigenous individual has the right to a nationality. So if every individual has the right to a nationality, and indigenous persons have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct, political, legal, economic organization, institutions, while retaining their right to participate fully, if they so choose, in the social, political, economic, social, and cultural life of the state. So you have the right to a nationality. But say, okay, I have the right to a nationality, and I'm Cherokee, but I don't have the paperwork, or I don't want to enroll into the Cherokee Nation. So anytime I do anything in the United States and they ask me, well, I'm a Cherokee. Anytime it's dealing with race or an international law, I'm a Cherokee. But what? You have the right to be a part of their system and state. So you don't necessarily have to do what's in Article 3 and 4, or 3 is when you can say, okay, well, I'm a part of this nation and I want to separate from the rest of these nations and just deal with my nation. You can do that. But then you say, well, I want to drive on some shit that they own, because traveling is free. I have the right to travel, so I don't need this and I don't need that. How would you feel if somebody come to your land and tell you what they don't need to do on your shit because they gonna try to find a loophole in your law? This is the same shit that people want to do. This is why it's an issue. You want to say, well, I belong to this tribal nation, and I
Hey,
want to do what the fuck I want to do in the United States jurisdiction without repercussions. That's what most people want.
and
That's what they
African,
truly want. Go
a
ahead,
side,
cuz, talk to me.
side note, African American is not a nationality.
Fact.
So, if a cuz just said it, so now you're not African American, you have to have a nation. So you can be a Cherokee and your nationality be American. You can be Lenape and be American, but you in the common principle and all of this is what you said that you was this. That's self-determination. This is what I am. But the fear is I don't want no white people to be mad at me for saying that I'm this. And I don't want nobody to check me when I say that I'm this. All you gotta do is have the confidence. You don't have to know every fucking thing. Know enough about yourself. Know enough about law. What do you all know about their law? So everybody want to know about tribal law, but ain't nobody studying United States law. Nobody studying treaty law because United States law is treaty law. And we just found that treaty law is what? The law of the world. But the law of the world said, well, yeah, everybody got the right to self-determination and have their own nations. What's the underlying principle? Honesty. So let's see. Let's see. Let's see if we can find some. Okay. Okay, the states. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Okay, so Article 9. Indigenous people and individuals have the right to belong to an indigenous community or nation in accordance with the traditions and customs of the community or nation concerned. No discrimination of any kind may arise from the exercise of such right. So you can be a part of a nation as long as you're what? Willing to submit to those traditions and customs. So say, okay, well, I want to be a part of that, right? But I don't like that there. Then that's not for you. Why? You have the right to self-determination. Go do your own thing. But when you do your own thing, is it an ancient way? Because you can revitalize ancient ways. You can even modernize ancient ways. But when you create something new, that's eventually become ancient, but it's not that which sprung you or which birthed you. So whose culture and traditions will you be taking on, even though you have the right to self-determination? So as he says, not even that. I don't want black people saying that, and that's about it said, and that okay. But I get it, right? For this particular comment, right? I get it. But this is the thing about this topic. I want to stay on topic. When you say who you are, that start to wake up codes in your genetics. When you start to live who you say you are, when you start to speak the language and chant in the language, when you start to think in the language, it starts to change your molecular structure. It changes your whole genetics. All of this starts with saying, I am, right? This is the utter. Ia, right? Ia, I am. So See, Article 11, indigenous people have the right to practice and revitalize their cultural traditions and customs. This includes the right to maintain, protect, and develop the past, present, and future manifestations of their culture, hint, hint, such as archaeological and historical sites, hint, hint, artifacts, designs, ceremonies, technologies, and visual and performing arts and literature. So you have to protect this shit. So now you know who you are, and you're saying who you are, and you identify with your tribal nation or tribal council or clan, and you unify with different people, and you begin to acknowledge what's actually what, you then do what? Begin to practice and revitalize the culture that your ancestors actually practiced. Because every tribe consists of what? Bands. And every band consists of clans. And every clan consists of individuals. So the individual self-determining allowed for the clan to self-determine, which allowed the clan to unify with bands based off what? Self-determination. And then the bands unify with other bands and they become tribe. But tribe unifies with tribe and becomes nation. Nation and nation becomes union and or confederacy. This simply starts with having the for the women having the tits to self-determine. Say who you are. Live this shit. Stop being scared. Now, if you don't know, I understand why. But if you know and you are afraid, there's something in you genetically that is in fear that you must face in order to open up the floodgates for your family. I've been telling you all this. You have to go. What your family say? Write that shit down. Self-determination. That's literally what that is. That's what grandma said. Write that shit. Go forward with it. You're too worried about how everybody else feel about y'all. You are too worried about how everyone else will view you. This is why people put so much emphasis on copper tone indigenous people, because without that emphasis, they know nothing else about being indigenous. So you have, well, copper tone was here first. Okay, well, you speak your language. Nah, they took it from me. Well, shit, you just put in a job application 2 days ago. You put it in black or African American, cause it said identify with a tribe. Oh, so you ain't in tune with no tribal people? Nah. But aren't you an individual? Yeah. So don't you have the fucking right to self-determination? It's fear. Fear of how somebody else will view you. Fear of what somebody else will think about you. When grandma told you, auntie told you, fuck it, you know better. You know better. But if I say I'm this, will they get mad at me? If I go buy some land, will they get mad at me? If I get my family mad at me? If I join with a tribal nation, will they get mad at me? And if they get mad at me, what would they do? It's fear. You have to have the confidence. You have to build the confidence. Confidence is security. The reason people are insecure, listen to, and the English language is fucking crazy. Because if I was insecure, wouldn't I feel secure? Like I'm insecurity. Like somebody got me, right? Got my back. But it's the opposite. You're insecure, you're lacking security. That lack comes at a price. It's ignorance, which is creating this lack. And that lack creates what? Security, a lack of confidence. You got the confidence. Remember, you in class and your teacher say, "Shit, what's 4 plus 4?" I'm like, damn, didn't I study that on the last night? I just did my addition. But then remember when you start getting that addition and you got faster. So by the time you get the fucking multiplication come in already up, that's confidence. That's security. I know what I'm talking about, and you're not gonna tell me I'm wrong. And if I do find myself to be incorrect, I have no problem with being corrected. Self-determination. Who are you going to be when you grow up? Remember these what you want to be when you grow up. I want to be an astronaut. That's self-determination. The same thing applies in this world. You are who you say you are. But the thing is what? You have to prove it. You have to prove it. So now in Article 12 says indigenous people have the right to manifest, practice, develop, and teach their spiritual and religious traditions, customs, and ceremonies. The right to maintain, protect, and have access and privacy to their religious and cultural sites. The right to use and control their ceremonial objects, and the right to the repatriation of their human remains. Hint, hint. So now we're building. So we self-determined. We know who we are. We put it on paper. This is who we are. We got a declaration. We have a constitution. We have bylaws. And we have treaties with other families and treaties with other tribal nations. So now we say, hey, our blood can prove that this is us over here. Our paperwork and story can prove this mounds or these anybody who's saying they're indigenous. No, not just anybody. That self-determination. But these particular people from these tribal nations, and we have the right to actually protect our work. Not only do we have the right to protect our work, we have the right to what? The repatriation of human remains. So all of the artifacts and bones, they're sending to the fucking Muskogee, who are Johnny come lately. All of the mounds and artifacts and pottery, they're sending to the Cherokee Nation. All of the mounds and the pottery, they're sending to the Chickasaw Nation. Under international law. Very soon, you get your shit back. I'm ending it like that. Anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah, nephew, that was a good ass presentation, and that's the thing what's wrong with people. They afraid to self-identify. And when you do identify being self, yeah, people get met with resistance, but you have to stay the resistance of the resistance and stand on your 10 toes down. You know what I'm saying? You know, when I said that I'm Yati Yamasi, you have people that say, oh, the Yamasi is extinct. Well, prove it. Prove that the Yamasi is extinct. Or the Yama, prove it. And they say, oh, the British them said it was extinct. Well, because you destroy one village don't mean that you destroy a nation. That's what people don't fail to realize. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, they can't be scared in this, bro. They gotta rep their birthright and everything. You know, I like when the motherfucker try to challenge me. But I'll turn the floor over to my nephews.
For sure. Munt, talk to me. What you think, Carl?
The time is yesterday. We gotta go get back what's ours.
White fire, heard. Red fire, talk to me. Man, Cuz probably got Dookie in his nails right now.
Man, come on.
He can't touch the phone. Crazy, he can't touch the phone. He changed the diaper right now. That's crazy. That's crazy. I had another topic. This one I'll do tomorrow. Um, one of them was somebody from that Brill.
I'm
He
here,
from
but can't talk
Miami.
too loud. Shit.
Um, I think he said he wanted to touch. He wanted me to touch on. It say 1700 Yamasi migration to Florida, Cuba, and the Bahamas. The Black Creek experience of the War of 1812, both sides perfect, and the Haitians that fought in the 1700s and 1812. Which one of y'all found the Zoe that's buried in the Wale cemetery? I can't remember which one it was, but somebody found the a Haitian warrior, like bro fought in one of their wars in the 1700s. He ended up coming over here and helped the Wale fought. So I'll add that to the bill tomorrow. So his whole thread I do tomorrow. That'll be simple. I grab some facts for people to talk about the migration into Florida, how they got to Cuba, the Bahamas, all that good shit. So that'll be for tomorrow. Any one of y'all do want to build before I get off? Before I do hop off? No, no, not everybody say less. So it's gonna be a short one for me. All of you that tuned in, please be here tomorrow night. Um, tomorrow night, I'll probably be on around 9. It's gonna be late for me. So I'll be on around 8:39. I'll do the same thing. I'll send the link as I'm on. I see that tends to work better. Please like this video. If you like the video, it let YouTube know that you like my shit. So my videos will pop up to other people, right? If you go through my views, you'll see that before I had the pause where I had to get my YouTube back, I had a lot of views, right? We had what? We had one at 10K, we had 10, 11K, 7K, 5K, 2,000. We got to get that shit back jumping. And the only way I'm going to do it is with y'all help. I can only go as far as you all really push this. If you're not pushing it to anyone, if you're not sharing things like, hey, check this out, see what he's talking about, it won't grow. All of you that's growing with us, continue to grow with us. All of you that'll be there in July, we'll see you all in. Much
Oh
love from
yeah.
me and my. Go ahead, cuz. Talk to me.
And back on the bill, back on the bill. Uh just to the chat and everybody that's gonna be listening for future purposes. This was a wake up call to drop those misnomers. This was a wake up call to drop those misnomers and find out who you really are. So whenever y'all ready,
Hey,
come.
say what you really got to say.
Who said
You
that?
heard me?
Huh?
Yeah,
Say what you really got to say.
I did. I did.
they're even dealing with the Declaration rights of the indigenous people or the Declaration rights of humans uh, across the board. When they say, everybody have a right to a nationality, you know. So proclaim your nationality. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's actually ties into your bloodline. It ain't time to be fucking around. You know what I'm saying? And they gonna make you choose one or the other. You know what I'm saying? So time is at hand. So yeah, yep.
Yeah, reset is coming. You're gonna have to figure out exactly who you are.
Definitely. I could clear the hour if y'all want to stay on 15 minutes.
Don't 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 sit back and continuously call yourself black. Yeah, we black people, but man, come on now. What are you really? Don't be that's a fear to not want to find out who you are, where you come from, or to make up excuses as to why you can't do that work. Man, come on now. Like it's not hard. It might take you 4 years. It might take you 6, 7. I could tell you right now, it took me a while, but I got there. And once you do it, it's it over. I'm telling you, that blood overlaps that spirituality. It come together. It make it all come together. Because how do you have spirituality without having living blood?
Facts. And you know, in our language, blood is hey, you outnumbered on this podcast. You outnumbered 3-1 on this podcast. You feel me? But blood, and I got on all red. It's wild. It's wild. It's wild. I say that. Let me see if I could. That's wild. I got on all red, right? But said that blood
Hey, my blood is my cousin, you heard me? My blood is my cousin.
and and then my blood cousins. and
And then my blood cousins, yeah.
and you know one of my favorite pictures from a wedding, my cousin, my cousin 60s. So bro that my wedding, whatever. We had a major party, but blood is very important. See, the word for blood, spirit, mother, ceremony, sacrifice. All of these are the same word. See, cuz said something very important. The blood and spirit, they're one and the same. Life is in the blood. The first the first person on earth was blood. Can't nobody tell me I'm wrong. Blood is the original children of God, the original children of the Creator. Whether you call them Isir, whether you call them Yahola, whether you call them Zoya, whether you call them Inki, or whether you call them Adamu or Adamuzi, it's blood. Isa, Isana, my mother, my blood, my ceremony, my sacrifice, my spirit. You have to know who you are in order to self-determine. That underlying principle, that honesty, is your family, your blood, who you are, not what you've accepted. You've accepted everything, literally, except the fact that you belong to a tribal nation. You've accepted everything. But the fact that you have your own language, you accepted everything except who you actually are. That was my favorite book by Dr. York, will always be who you are, not what you accept. And even though one of my books is titled after his, if you read them, they're the complete opposite. Because there's no force of an identity. I don't force an identity on anyone. You know who you are. I do not. So if you come to me asking, are you Wale? The answer is no. If you come to me asking, well, bro, am I Cherokee or Yamasi? The answer is no. And you like, yeah, he didn't even answer the question. He just said no. How do you tell you who the fuck you are? I don't know. This is why you get to know people. It's in the blood. If I knew, I would have to be blood related to you to answer that question. But I'm not. If your mother knew, or if your mother knows, and you act as if you know not, or you're questioning, if your mother said something, and you say, well, Yeah, is this in the family? Yeah, this is in the family. Well, what about this? And they say, nah, that was never in the family. And you take it and run with it. That is your right. That's your right. But it's wrong. It's your right. But the right is to what? You also have to do what? You have to practice your ceremony. Remember what we just said. Blood and ceremony are the same word. Blood and mother are the same word. So your connection to self-determination, which is technically not self-determination, it was given to you by who? Your blood and your mother. Through what? Ceremony. This is what all those words are the same. Dagger. Then you go forward. Anybody like that build? I know y'all like that build on that word. Anybody in the comments in the chat, if you like that build on that one word, imagine how detailed the language is when you put these words together. Imagine that. You have to learn your language. The codes are in your own language. The codes are in your own language. You worried about what my Cherokee, or is it Tuskegee, or is it Telegiri, or Allegheny, or is it Appalachia, or Wale, or is it Ubaha, or Catawba? You're fucking reading in English. But if you study the languages of these people, the code is broken. You have the Crips, but you have double O's, 20s, 30s, 40s, 60s, the 50s, the 8 trays, or the 8, you right? You have the Damu house, you got the Bloods. So you don't just have blood, you have all these different kind of bloods. Sex, money, murder, blood. But then you have the Pyru family. But it's not just Pyru. You got trees, fruits, and all these different groups. But all of them were the same color, they're in the same nation. But all of them have their own form of autonomy. They all have their own ranking structure and bylaws. But then they operate according to the system of blood. They then operate to the system of cripping. So it's a lifestyle that people are living that comes with a culture and a language and traditions. And the only way in is blood. A lot of people, oh, you got to go draw blood. Okay, that's okay. And sometimes you got to your own blood. But this is an ancient ceremony. Now you're getting beat on before you're just getting clawed or scratched. But it's in the blood. Everything that you
And
know,
they,
everything that go ahead, talk to me. Talk to me.
you know what else? You know what else, nephew? When you say that, because it's like when people say that, oh, the Iguana is extinct, or the Yaman are extinct, or the Tequila are extinct, or the Temucuan is extinct, or the Tainos are extinct. Well, how do people become extinct? How? How? Because you use a patriarchal mindset to say that because you killed the men off, that killed the nation, but yet the blood still exists throughout the bloodline of the children and the children. And I like when you say, yeah, when they think that, they killed the nation, the chiefs of them was like, go ahead on and marry that Mandy and that Mandinka man and have children by them. And the admixture made it greater. But they don't understand that during times of war, admixtures came about where nations can survive. So how can you make a nation extinct only on paper? Even when they talk about, oh, they gave them chicken pox and yellow fever. Like we didn't have medicine people that can combat that, you know? And then my thing is this, okay, how was you able to take and do biological germ warfare when you didn't get affected by it? So what did you use to put on the blankets? And you had to touch the blankets yourself. You didn't have no hazmat suit, so honestly, you must have had got the same sickness as the people that you were trying to make sick. But yet, we had the remedy. They didn't.
Facts.
Even when it comes down to the medicine woman, was they actually in Hollywood? They made her a European woman, but she was not a European woman. She was an American native. Her name was Dr. Medicine Quinn. You know, the medicine doctor. She was an Indian, not a European woman as Hollywood. So you think we didn't have herbs and stuff and all the rest of the things to combat that?
Facts.
But they
Yeah.
want us to be extinct so bad. But yet
But
they
then it's
tell you
like
that we
how
became.
now go ahead, pardon me, finish your thought.
No, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, nephew, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say how when you say you have so many people identifying as something, then you say, well, they're extinct. This is what they say. This is what we when they say, oh well, how bro say how our ancestors say they speak with the forked tongue, right? It is when you understand their law and understand yours, they can't beat you. Because if they say, well, and this is the United States, well, the Yamasi are extinct. This is what was said. But can't no, when people regurgitate what's being said, one has to remember how when there are people who are who self-determine in a nation by that name and carry the cultural traditions, or the while they are extinct. But how when there are people that carry that name and those cultural traditions? So they can say what the fuck they want. You know who you are. You live it. You can prove it. Excuse me. When you can prove it.
Absolutely
When you
right,
start to
nephew.
live it.
Absolutely right.
Right? So their law, the United States law, is one thing. International law is another. What do I mean? Say if we have, and I'm saying say if I do the possibility shit, because I don't like to put people in places. But say there's a medicine society that does business with another medicine society, or there's a nation in another are not state or federally recognized, and they have a treaty. That treaty is recognized under international law. So why is the focus always United States law? Why is the focus always the United States law when the Wale or the Iba'a Tribal Council, which explanation? There's so many names, right? That these and that broke off or sprung off the original name. This is what we are. This is what we are here to explain, and not to correct, but to properly educate. Is that all of the names that you hear are different dialects of the most ancient? So when you begin to unify all of these people that carry these names, self-determination, you begin to create a council. Now, in this council, you say, well, we're not gonna regulate or invest the power into a seat or a position. Peace. We're gonna invest the power into the family. So anyone a part of this tribal council, whether they are from whichever tribal nation, they have a clan or a family within this council. This is how it was in the ancient way, in the ancient time, right? Before all of the names sprung from what everyone considered the land and themselves to even be. This is a fact. Though they were not one genetically, though they were not one culturally, they were one in a way that many can't explain. So when they created this system, and the system worked, when the system eventually was shut down due to wars, intrusion, famine, agricultural issues, whatever, weather, whatever, then you get all these different branch offs and larger bands, right? Which eventually become tribal nations in this land, in this place. So this is what the tribal council is here to educate everyone on. It's like, well, there's a system in place, which each one of you actually watching, you exist in our system. You may not know you exist in our system, excuse me, but you still exist in our system. If you Cherokee, you still exist in their system. If you're your system. But what I'm explaining is, in the larger whole, when that system was, you exist in every system. Who is your family? Who your mom is? Where do you come from? Who are your uncle? Who is your noble uncle? Who your warrior uncle? What town you come from? Turn around. Where you let me see your scars. Let me see your marks. Throw that up. Let me see what you rocking with. Hey, who you be? What you bang? Who you from? What's your name? What's your handle? Oh yeah, what you bang? What? Oh yeah, who your big homie is? Oh da. It's the same shit. It's going to the lodge. You learned it on the internet. From whence came you? Why? What you came to do? You bring somebody around your grandma. What your grandma ask her? Well, who you is? Who your people is? Who? Where they from? That's universal, brother. But everybody exists in this system. You have to just understand that you exist in this system. Well, I don't know my clan. There are plenty of ways to find it out. If you can't find it on paperwork, there are other ways to find it out. You all just have to have the confidence. As a man, you have to have the nuts. Again, sisters, you have to have the tits. You have to have the strength. You have to have the will. You have to have the want to actually say who you are and put it on paper and live it and move with it. If you don't, you're going to continue to be stagnant. You want to be a part of a nation. The only nation that you should not be a part of is stagnation. If you think about that tonight. The only nation that you don't want to be a part of is stagnation. Get the moving. Get the moving. The reason the tortoise won, he was, you got to move at a, you got to move at a steady pace. It's not that it moved at a slower and steadier pace that it won. It didn't stop moving at all. That's why I won the race. It was never stagnant. The hare could have been slower than the tortoise. And the tortoise could have rested, and the hare would have won because the hare wasn't stagnant. So either way you flip the story, what's being explained is, if you stop, time and time is going to catch up and pass you because you waited. You were stagnant. You all have the opportunity to do the work, get it done, and bring it to the people. Doesn't matter what tribal nation. If it's your tribal nation, that's where you go. So I don't want to say it doesn't matter which tribal nation. But go find out if you belong. And if you do, they will accept you. And then elevate. But stop worrying about how other people are going to view you. Stop worrying about how other people are gonna view you. Again, so that's it for me. That's an hour 5. Anybody else want to chime in before I jump off? All right, so everyone in the chat, thank y'all for tuning in. Much love. Tomorrow I'll be on, so stay tuned for that link and like this video. Oh, if you're watching, as soon as I end it, please come back and leave me a comment. I don't care if it's an arrow, the number 1, but that bit could be that bit could be a corn cob. It don't matter. Leave me a comment. Let's get this stuff moving. Hey, auntie, I didn't even know you was in here. Hello. I didn't even know you was in here. Leave me some hearts. Leave me some likes. Show some love. Please, please, please. Thank you.